All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Now, today I'm going to be revealing to you the 6 authors that, when they have a new book coming out, on the release day of that book, I stop everything and go get that book and start reading it that very day. Now, I've got a lot of authors in my vast library here, and we're going to take a tour of it here in a second. But I got a lot of authors in here that are automatic purchases for me. Like, I purchase their books and read them automatically. But there's only 6 that I will literally stop everything for. I will, whatever I'm reading, I put that aside. I go to the bookstore. I don't even trust Amazon.com to deliver the book to me on time with these 6 authors. I have to, because sometimes Amazon says, oh, it'll arrive on the release day. That doesn't always happen. I have to stop everything, put down whatever books I'm reading, go to the bookstore that day, get the book, go home, immediately start reading, and there's only 6 authors that I do that for. Sometimes, I will admit, I have even called off work to be able to read these. So let's just get to it. Let's reveal the 6. Which 6 are they? And some of them might surprise you, because I've done lists of my favorite authors and stuff, and some of these guys are not even going to fall in my top 5 favorite authors. But yet I do stop everything when their books come out and read them. So to begin with, we have to move this, because one of the authors is always constantly hidden behind this poster over here. So let's get rid of it. And I will show you that one of the authors that I buy and read the very day that their books are released is George. I was going to call him George. I don't think his name is George. George R.R. Martin, right there. Now, some of you are going to say, so because I got all of his books here. And ever since reading The Game of Thrones, the first book, I mean, this is back in the 90s, before everybody else even knew about George R.R. Martin. I was buying this guy's books on release day and reading them. Now, some of you might say, well, gosh, it's been what, 12 years since his last book was released? Okay, yeah, so I've gone a long stretch without having to stop everything to get a George R.R. Martin book. Let's face it, I've gone a long stretch. But that's a topic for another video that I probably will never make. Anyway, so my next number 2, that's number 1. Number 2 is right next to, before we move on, I just wanted to point out that if you look closely, my books are right there under George R.R. Martin. How cool is it to have your own novels sitting next to Conan, J. Kristoff, and right underneath George R.R. Martin? That's my books. And actually, J. Kristoff's Empire of the Vampire, I think when the sequel to this comes out, I will probably stop everything and go get that one too. But anyway, number 2 on the list is my main man, Tad Williams, right there. Tad Williams has been a must purchase for me. Just trying to see if this video is going in and out of focus. Well, of course it's going in and out of focus. It's being filmed by me, for God's sakes. It's gonna be crappy and it's gonna go in and out of focus. I don't even know why I'm testing. Anyway, Tad Williams, another one of the authors where when his books are released, I stop everything, go to the bookstore and buy. And I've been doing that ever since the late 1980s when I was a kid. And of course, he is most well known for his Dragon Bone Chair Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. So that is author number 2 that is a must-buy for me. on release day. And guess what? Right next door is my favorite author of all time, and that is Stephen King. And he is a must-buy for me. And I have to read his books on the day they are released. And I have got all of his books right here in hardcover all the way down. Got all of them. And I've got another shelf downstairs of all of his paperbacks. So not only do I collect all Stephen King in hardcover, I collect all of Stephen King in paperback. And I have all of Stephen King on audible.com. So I buy 3 versions of every Stephen King novel. And you guys should buy every version of all 3. You guys should buy all 3 versions of them. I'm just saying. So Stephen King is one of the authors that I stop everything and I go purchase the day the book is released and read it that day. That is the author number 3. Who is author number 4? Well, let's pan through the library here. I mean, we've got all sorts of science fiction novels over there, all sorts of fantasy novels back there, all sorts of horror novels over here. Now, I'm going to give you, before we get to number 3, I'm going to give you 2 honorable mentions. And these are 2 authors that I do buy them on release day. I don't necessarily always get to reading them on release day. And that is one of my favorite authors. Honorable mention goes to Robert Mccammon. And there are all my Robert Mccammon books up there. And the next honorable mention goes to Dan Simmons. And there are all my Dan Simmons books right there. Those are 2 authors that I collect. And I read their books pretty quickly after they're released, but it's not a mandatory reading on release day. However, let us move over to number 4 out of the list of 6, and that is my main man, Dennis Lehane. I have been addicted to Dennis Lehane books for the last 25 years, ever since I read his first Kenzie and Gennaro mystery, Drink Before the War. And I have been a fan of his through everything, through Mystic River, through Small Mercies, through Shutter Island we've got over here in the corner, Shutter Island, The Drop, Gone Baby Gone. A lot of Dennis Lehane books have been turned into great movies. Directed by, Martin Scorsese and Ben Affleck and other great directors. But anyway, that is author number 4. And let us just move over one shelf to author number 5. And that is Michael Connolly, with his Harry Bosch books and his Lincoln Lawyer novels and some of his standalone thrillers like The Poet. Michael Connolly is actually one of those book guys that I go buy his book on the day it's released, and I stop everything and read it right then. And as I was looking through my vast library of different authors, that was like a surprise entry for me. I didn't realize I was doing it, but then when I thought back on my history with Michael Connolly, it's like he's one of the ones. He's definitely one of the ones that I've done that with. And that is number 5. So who is the 6th? Who might it be? So let's move over to more of my historical fiction section of the book, where we've got a lot of Westerns and Larry McMurtry stuff. And we've got a lot of Louis L'Amour stuff and things like that. And we got some Diana Gabaldon Outlander books. And we got all sorts of Robert Ludlum and Shogun and things like this. Bernard Cornwell even. But the one guy that I stop everything for over in this section of my library is none other than Ken Follett. And I got all of Ken Follett's books right there. I got to lean down for this one. They're on some lower shelves in the bookstore. This is not a bookstore. Don't try to buy books out of here. I will not sell them. This is my library. So Ken Follett, of course, of Pillars of the Earth fame, Eye of the Needle thrillers, World War II mystery novel thrillers, and all of his, century novels that are down here. His, The Fall of Giants. Yeah, I probably should have raised these up onto a higher. I don't even know what I'm. Okay, yeah. So, Ken Follett, right there, folks. So, Ken Follett is number 6. So, you guys tell me in the comments. You guys let me know what authors out there are you guys purchasing and then reading, like Michael Connolly. Maybe yours is Michael Connolly too, or maybe you're into maybe you're into the Da Vinci Code or something, or maybe you're into whatever else is up here. What else have I got here? Dean Koontz, John Grisham. Who is a must buy release day author for you? Put it in the comments, and we'll debate whether you're crazy or not in the comments. You guys can tell me if I'm crazy in the comments, if the 6 authors that I rush to the bookstore are nonsensical. Like, who would do that? Who would be so obsessed? Anyway, those are the 6, and that's the video, and we'll see you later.